From the NTD Global Headquarters in New York, I'm Kelly Wright, and this is America's Hope. Good evening. Thank you for joining us this hour. We're glad that you could be a part of our program, and we do hope that you're safe and well, taking care of yourself and your family because you matter, especially in these perilous times. We have Minister Sharon Haskell. She's a member of the Knesset. Sharon has been serving in the Knesset for quite some time, as well as being a former member of the IDF, the Israeli Defense Forces. And then we're also going to focus on that speech that Bibi Netanyahu made a week ago before members of Congress. What's not known is that there was also a member of the Hostages Families Forum who got a private audience with some members of Congress, a bipartisan support that showed up to hear Efrat Mashikawa describe her ordeal and what many of the hostages' families are going through. And she takes exception to some of the practices or programs or action that Bibi Netanyahu has taken. But more importantly, she is focused on getting the hostages and bringing them home now. So let's get started now. So my first guest tonight on America's Hope is Efrat Mashikawa, and she's all too familiar with what's going on since October 7th, 2023, as it pertains to the hostages who were taken captive by Hamas terrorists on that unfortunate day that will live in infamy for many people throughout the world, not just in Israel, including many people here in America. And the interesting thing is that last week we heard from the Prime Minister of Israel, Bibi Netanyahu, as he addressed members of Congress. And there was a bipartisan showing there, but there were also massive demonstrations going on at the time of Bibi speaking and addressing the members of Congress, as for that matter, all of the United States and the world was watching to hear what he would say. Behind the scenes, whether you know it or not, Efrat actually spoke to members of Congress as well. Behind the scenes, closed door meeting, talking to members of Congress from both sides of the aisle. Efrat, thank you for joining us this hour on America's Hope. When you spoke to members of Congress, and C-SPAN actually aired that, I was able to see some of that, and it was riveting. You held those members of Congress basically with bated breath to hear what you had to say about October 7th and the aftermath. What is it you were trying to convey to the members of Congress?
Thank you, Kelly, for having me. And indeed, we had a full room with people, representatives who really wanted to listen and learn. So the message was very, very clear. We believe that it is up to our Prime Minister's responsibility to seal the deal. There is a deal on the table. We know all members around that table agree upon it, and we need his seal. And we wanted to convey the message that what unfortunately our Prime Minister is messaging to the world these days is not what the people and the state of Israel want, and definitely not our families. We believe lives are fading away. We are fearing that the desecrated bodies that are held in Gaza will disappear. We want to bury them respectfully, such as all faith believe they deserve to, and we want our people back. But the reason we want them back is not only our selfish family wishes of unification. What we believe is that the return of all hostages is actually the key to rolling hope for a better economy, rolling on the hope for a better security, not only to the state of Israel, but so for the Palestinians, for the Middle East, and for all the alliances of the dear America that is there in our region to protect us from evil. So it's really not just a selfish wish. We need to seal that deal, to bring all hostages back, including my dear 80 years old uncle Gadi Moses, that is still there, and roll the circle towards life and not unroll it towards death. It has been 9 months, over 9 months now, and what do we see? Instead of giving birth to life, we're dealing with more and more and more of death and mourning. It is time to stop the madness.
You would like to see Bibi Netanyahu push for a deal to get all of the hostages returned home. What is it about his administration? Where do you think he has failed the hostages' families?
First, our beloved ones are not home. We are almost 300 days from the terrible catastrophe. 300 days, so he failed. We believe he failed because for some reason he has interest in prolonging the war. There are some certain members of Bibi's coalition that have ideas that are not reasonable to the majority of Israel. They're extremists. So he fails to control them. He fails to convey messages of hope for the Israelis and our neighbors. And the only thing he succeeds is in traveling overseas. We did not even believe he should have gone. Israel is a mourning state right now. How dare he leave his country and come and give a speech in Congress and trying to get all these applauses to whatever he wants to convey when home is burning? We do believe that he is abandoning the real issues of saving the lives of our hostages. Now, I have to share with you, I'm here in the States for now for over 10 days. We're working 24 hours a day, really. We've been in DC, in LA, now in New York. We will be in Boston. We're all over. And what I found out, and I'm learning as I go, is that first, I don't hear enough talks about Sinwar, who actually started this war. And I feel there is a terrible ignorance. People do not know how all this situation started. So for the sake of the hostages and our terrible situation, I would like to repeat, this has started because of Sinwar and Hamas raiding over our peaceful communities. So that one thing. But the other thing is that I have a feeling that maybe our great alliances in the United States fear to voice out anything against our prime minister because they worry it might sound they criticize Israel. Now we are in great awe to America. You are our wonderful, wonderful friends, and we are part of this civilized coalition. And we would like to convey the message: we are not our prime minister. Our prime minister is not representing us, and it's okay to say it. We would like the senators and the congresswomen and congressmen to voice out this difference. Please continue to support Israel. Please continue to support the state of Israel, but it is okay to say things that show the truth about what is Bibi Netanyahu doing here. And he is doing wrong to our people and therefore to the American people, because we are your alliances. And
you know, Frata, as you're talking, you also gave members of Congress that you spoke to a copy of this book that you actually crowdfunded and was able to develop this. I'm saying you, but it was basically a collection of of contributors who wrote this book, Dark Legacy. In this book, what are you addressing about what took place on October 7th? And is there a way forward that you suggest to not fix blame on Bibi Netanyahu, but focus on the problem to solve the problem?
Yeah. Our prime minister is a very well-educated person, and he has the ability to speak very well. At the same time, he worries a lot about his own legacy. In various interviews during the years, he declared he would like to go and down in history knowing that he was Mr. Security or Mr. Economy, the great savior of Israel. But what we see? We see that his good legacy and achievements are now being ruined by his dark legacy. Because since October 7th, not to talk of what happened before that, but let's say October 7th on, Bibi Netanyahu has become the Mr. Abandonment of the October 7th hostages. And this is a collection of all the people that we are now surrendered. We have people from the Mossad, people from leading economists, people that had the Nobel Prize. We had poets and culture leaders. We have educators, academic professors. We have everybody here contributing their chapters to this book, including us, the family members. And what we decided to do with this campaign is actually to talk about this dark legacy, about how we believe it should not happen and we have to stop it. And in order to insert hope, we left the last chapter open. It's blank. So Mr. Netanyahu has a chance to somehow insert hope and a little bit of light to his dark legacy and change the last chapter of this book. Bring them back home, bring hope to the state of Israel, to the Middle East, and to the coalition together with America. It is up to him to decide how this book is going to end.
We'll be back with more of America's Hope in just a moment. Welcome back to America's Hope. I'm talking to Efrat Machikawa. I met her a couple of months ago when she came to America to talk to evangelicals in this country about the plight of Jewish people in Israel. And let me straighten that out, Efrat. You weren't just talking about the plight of Jewish people in Israel. You were talking about the Arabs, as well as Muslims, as well as Christians on the ground living in Israel in the wake of what took place on October 7th, and having to deal with the ramifications of the Israel-Hamas war, and also the bombings coming from the north from Hezbollah, as well as the rocket attack that took place from Iran, as well as the recent Houthi rebel attack on Israel. You're in a very tough neighborhood, and you are the only democracy or democratic state in that region. What's the message you want to get across to America, which is your strongest ally?
It does not really matter what is your faith, whether you're Druze or Muslim, a Christian in Israel, or a Jew. You are a target by evil. And what the message that I would like to convey is that human and humanitarian messages come first. In Hebrew, human is pronounced Adam, like Adam, Adam. And land is Adama, Adam and Adama. And what we say is that human beings come before land, Adam before Adama. We have to remember, we all share the same morals. We share the same values of honesty, of respect, of trying to be the best we can, of trying to live life and not to advocate for death. It doesn't matter whether you're Christian or you're Muslim or you're a Jew. We all believe in the same values, and we should strive to unify ourselves among these such invaluable morals. This is what we should strive for: life, respect, honesty. We should not let this evilness conquer our hearts and change our future. War only brings further war. We need to end the situation. We need to bring back the hostages. They are so they deserve it, you know. They deserve it. These are peace activists. These are humble, modest people that were taking 6:30 in the morning from their beds. Gadi was advocating for innovation in agriculture, wisely using wastewater and growing crops like potatoes and carrots for over 50 years all around the world. Egypt and Jordan.
And in fact, I recall you talking to me about Gadi when we first met, and how Gadi was even talking to Hamas terrorists when they came into your kibbutz to attack him as well as others. And he had been working with Palestinians in Gaza to actually help them.
Yes, indeed. Gadi, until October 7th, had relationships with Palestinians, trying to teach them how to take out the best they can from what they have, how to deal with innovation in agriculture in order to produce food for life. And his teaching went on even during times of troubles. He is an amazing educator, an amazing person. And when he left his home to try to talk to the terrorists coming into his house, little did he know they wanted his life. He told his partner, "Do not worry, I talk to people all over the world. Let them take whatever they want, whether it's money or items from the house, let it be. I can talk to them." But he didn't.
Fred, I want to thank you for sharing your story with us again, and thank you for coming to America to meet with people from every walk of life.
Thank you.
America, as I mentioned, is Israel's strongest ally. And of course, Israel is the only democratic ally we have in the Middle East. You spoke to those members of Congress and you talked about hope, and you just talked about hope on this program. What is the hope you'd like to convey to those anti-Semitic protesters in the streets of America and around the world saying death to Israel and death to America?
I just hope that people will try to look in the goodness of things rather the evilness and the death. And I just hope that people who are ignorant will not take over a position. Study the case. Understand. We all want the same. We want life rather than death. And where there is no hope, be the hope. Do not distract. Try to think, how can you be the hope?
Efrat Mashikawa, I want to thank you for talking to us this hour on America's Hope, and certainly you've stated it very clearly that we should not be involved in distractions, but learn how to be the hope. Where there is no hope, be the hope.